So today I want to talk about the science behind writing the greatest guitar solo of all time. Now you might be skeptical, and perhaps rightly so, but there definitely is, in my opinion, a formula, if you like, to writing a truly memorable and epic guitar solo. So before I explain all the hacks, I guess you would call them, I'm just going to play you a solo that I improvised that, according to the research, should tick a lot of the boxes. So let's have a listen to that, and if you do enjoy it, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. So was that the greatest solo of all time? No. But I did read an article in Total Guitar this week that did break down the components that make an amazing guitar solo. Some might say the best of all time, because I think it's pretty interesting, and Total Guitar might be onto something with this. Total Guitar also took the findings and all the science behind the greatest guitar solos of all time and used that information to write a solo of their own. And we're going to check that out together in this video. So stay tuned, you definitely don't want to miss this. They basically analysed 50 of the greatest guitar solos as chosen by their readers, and they basically deconstructed them to try and find common threads and just any commonality between the different solos. So before we dive into this formula, what was the greatest guitar solo of all time? Well, according to the article that I read, it was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. That solo pretty much has everything. I mean, whether you're a fan of Queen or not, I mean, it's pretty iconic. So, big respect, Brian May. Well deserved. I say that as if he's watching this video. So the first variable to talk about is tempo. Basically, how fast or slow is the song? Now, in the 50 guitar solos that Total Guitar analysed, the BPM ranged from, the low 60s up to around 170, so that's a pretty wide spectrum. But in their particular solo, they opted to go somewhere down the middle, at around 120 BPM. So that's a pretty conservative thing to do, and that's pretty logical. I would say that puts it in line with, quite a lot of the sort of traditional rock stuff. So if you are looking to write a song, to have a great guitar solo in it, maybe write one around 120 BPM. Now, a common thread that I thought was really interesting was the actual key that a lot of these solos seem to fall in. Traditionally, songs are either major or minor, and of all the solos that ranked highly in that top 50, they were all pretty much in a minor key. Maybe it's because a minor key has a more soulful and wholesome feel to it. If you think about blues, those kind of solos that are in a minor key just sound really epic and tasteful and just full of soul. And maybe that's just something that us guitar players latch onto. Next, we'll talk about dynamic range. So basically, what is the span of the notes that you choose to play in your solo? Now, dynamic soloing and how to build dynamics is something that is crucial to making sure that your solo has a storyline and an arc, and it's not just all guns blazing out of the gates and it just stays at that real high ceiling the whole time. You want it to slowly and gradually build up to that kind of crescendo at the top. So in their findings, they found all the best solos had a dynamic range, I suppose you would call it, of around 2.5 octaves. So you would basically start in the lower octaves, and then when you kind of reach the crescendo or the kind of climax of the solo, you should be around 2.5 octaves higher, or thereabouts. I mean, none of this is set in stone, but as a rule of thumb, it's important to build the solo and not just have a one-dimensional dynamic that doesn't really go anywhere. It's all very well and good saying you need to go up 2.5 octaves from the start to the end of your solo, but how are you going to fill all of that space? Total Guitar basically pointed out that all the lowest notes should take place in the first half of the solo. And if we are looking to build a solo, that is pretty logical because you'll want to start low and work your way up. I quite like this bit. Total Guitar mentioned that all of the notiest parts of the solo, so those are probably all the really kind of shreddy bits where everyone is just kind of doing all of their legato and their sort of fast hammer-ons, all of those parts tend to happen around 2/3 of the way through. So basically you should be kind of reaching your crescendo or the most dynamic part of your solo around the 2/3 mark. And then you're basically just going to bring the dynamics down slightly to finish off the solo. And I like that. I think that's pretty cool. A final thing to mention before we have a listen to this solo is the idea of building a motif or having a theme to the solo that is instantly recognisable. I think we can probably all agree that the most iconic solos are the ones that you can easily just kind of like sing or hum. All of these have a real lyrical quality where all of the guitarists have really thought about the notes that they want to actually incorporate, and there's often some repetition, and there's a way of really developing and establishing that motif through playing a line and then building on it slightly, but having that familiarity. And I think that is something that is really important as well. So if you're looking to make a great guitar solo, it's important to think about whether it's actually listenable. Okay, so let's take a listen at Total Guitar's rendition of the greatest solo of all time, using all of the information that we've spoken about in this video. So I'll put my headphones on, we'll hit play, and see what it's all about. Starting pretty mellow. Nice, changing up the feel. Adding some more notes, getting a bit more intense. This is good. Nice guitar harmonies. About 2/3 of the way through, so we're getting to that notey part. Bring the dynamics down at the end. Fair dues, Total Guitar. I dig it. So guys, there we have it. The recipe to writing an awesome guitar solo. Some might say the best guitar solo. So it's really interesting as a topic. I think there's definitely some valid points that Total Guitar make in their article. I definitely think there is some room for subjectivity, but it would be great to hear in the comments down below if you agree, and if you don't agree, let me know what you think would make the best guitar solo. Are there any threads that you find in the solos that you enjoy that you think makes that solo particularly great? I would love to hear from you in the comments. As always guys, thank you for tuning in to another video. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you all next Tuesday for another video.